Hi bestie, what's up? It's time for us to just have a drink and yap and look back on 2024, what happened in the year. I want to talk about my burnout recovery specifically today. I did a whole video on my 2024 reflections on my goals and my intentions for the new year. By the way, my camera is balanced on my laptop, so it's gonna move around if I move around. But I really wanted to talk about my recovery this year and specific events and how much has changed, because I feel like this year I have lived 3 lives, and I'm not even kidding. I moved 3 times this year, which was kind of huge. I started dating again, got my heart broken more than once by the same person, whatever. I went on 2 trips abroad, doubled my YouTube audience and really grew in that. I got management, I turned it into a business, all the while I was also still recovering from my burnout and getting my life back. And this all feels crazy to say out loud because a year goes by so quickly, but so much happens in that time, while some days it feels like nothing ever happens and I feel like I'm standing still and not going anywhere. That's really why I like reflecting so much and being conscious of experiences as I'm having them. But in January, on New Year's Day, I moved to an apartment. I had moved back to my parents for my burnout, decided it was time to live on my own again and have that experience and see how well I could take care of myself. And so I subletted an apartment through friends for 3 months and I moved on New Year's Day. That was rough. Those 3 months were incredibly difficult and very beautiful at the same time. I'm not going to touch on the dating part too much because I don't want that to be the focus of this video whatsoever. It just did have a huge impact on my mental well-being, and it was a big theme this year because during my burnout I didn't date, wasn't able to date, and it was really difficult to figure out what I was able to do. It brought up so many emotions that I was just really fragile at the time that I did start seeing someone, and that has taught me a lot about myself, and it brought up so many issues that were kind of buried within me, and I'm really glad actually that all came out because, you know, I was already working on so much shit, just add it on, we'll get it all done. I don't know. It just felt like everything was coming at me at once. And so I did a lot of processing this year. And a lot of that happened in the first 3 months of the year, and then things just kind of dragged on. So the time in the apartment was a time of big emotions. It was learning to take care of myself again, to feed myself, to take myself out to the grocery store, taking out the trash. Like, I had family who was taking care of me, and it was a big task to take care of myself. And on top of that, I was back in the city where all my friends live, and I wanted to see them so bad, and I had the opportunity to see them again, and I really had to keep an eye on my boundaries while also not letting anxiety take over and letting myself be limited by that anxiety too much. That was so hard because I would have friends ask to hang out and I would want to so bad, so I would choose to hang out with them, but then the next day I didn't have the energy to take myself to the grocery store, which is such a bare minimum thing in my book in taking care of myself. Like, it's such a high priority for me to be able to buy fresh food and ingredients and feed myself. Luckily I was in a city so I could like order groceries and stuff, but it's not necessary because it's just a bike ride away, but I couldn't do that anymore. And so then I had to adjust. Okay, well, I can't see this friend today because I want to go to the grocery store, but then, you know, I'm healing over time and that boundary changes. So then it becomes kind of the art of making the plans and doing the things that if I did them earlier, I would run into the wall, but now I wouldn't because my boundary is somewhere else. Am I making sense? This is like really directly what recovery is like. It's like when you've broken your leg and you start walking again, you gradually do that, and where 2 weeks ago a certain distance would start to hurt, a couple weeks later it doesn't hurt anymore and you can go further. But then it's really tricky to see, okay, but how far can I go then? Because I don't want to regress. That's kind of where I'm getting at. It was really hard to find the balance. Luckily, my friends are all very understanding. I did have really hard conversations with friends as well because, you know, they also have their boundaries and expectations and are counting on me in certain ways, and in some ways I can't be there. It was really hard for me to make plans too far in advance because I didn't know what my energy would be like at the time. That was really something that me and my friends discussed, like how can we make plans, leaving space for me to cancel, but not having them need to cancel their plans as well. You know, being canceled on last minute, that's fun for no one, so how can we work around that? And that was really important for me, and it was really nice to have friends who were so understanding and are so understanding and who celebrated things with me and the little things, and that was really beautiful. So I really enjoyed being back in the city, even though the first 3 months were really hard. From that apartment, I moved to a room in a house where I had 4 roommates. That was so fun. It was also difficult, like everything was hard because it was new, and I'm just naturally a nervous woman, so even though things were terrifying, I enjoyed myself so much. It was really a year of so many first times in a long times. So like going to a festival, going to a bar. It's 9 a.m. the day after the festival. I don't even know if you can call it a festival because it was pretty small, but I have been just sobbing for almost half an hour because I feel so proud and thankful that I got to do this and that my health allowed it. Even though I didn't stay for super long and I went home in between because it was very close. But goddamn, this is what I wanted for the past year and a half. I've been longing, yearning to do something like this and to be in a crowd again and feel normal. And I did. And my glasses are getting foggy because I'm crying and sweating, but I cannot describe the feeling. I think that people can relate to this after COVID, after finally being able to party again. It really felt like that, and to see people in the crowd enjoy themselves, and I saw so much, you know, love and joy, and saw people dancing, and that just feels so huge to me to be able to witness that in person again after not having been able to for so long. I think people really underestimate, if you're in good health, people really underestimate what that does to a person. Watching live performances and God, just laughing with friends and having an arm wrapped around your shoulder, and I don't know. And my friends were so sweet and hugging me and be like, look at her doing the things, and I'm so proud of you for being here. And that made me feel so safe and good, and I love them so much. Just felt so good and present, and I had energy. And right now I'm also crying because I'm really tired, and I am expecting a migraine somewhere today, but that's okay because I did all that, and that feels amazing. Okay, bye. Doing multiple things in a day, like activities, balancing work and social life again. It just felt so new. I've mentioned this on my ASMR channel before, and I think in my previous video, but it really felt like the spring of my life again, or at least the spring of my recovery. It felt like blossoming and coming out again. And that didn't go smoothly. I ran into the wall so many times. I've cried myself to sleep many nights still because I was tired, overwhelmed, stressed, terrified of what my health would be like, and will I ever feel normal again? Will my energy ever be normal again? Things like that. Like, there was a lot of that. It was emotionally still really hard. And also with friendships, I did feel a shift because I spent so much time away from a lot of people, and I feel like I've gone through a lot of growth, self-reflection. I in a way, I do feel like a different person. I don't know. I didn't just run into the wall. I like stumbled right through it and ended up somewhere else, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but I just feel like I think that's very relatable to people. Like, if you go through a really difficult time or trauma or a health scare or issue, like, you're changed. You've grown. You just learn a lot in a relatively short amount of time. And also my values shifted a lot. So where, you know, a lot of friends are deep into their studies or partying a lot or actively dating and doing whatever else, drugs, I don't know, and living their best life, I am more focused on a healthy lifestyle, how to function within a capitalist society, just little things like that. But I don't know, there are just some topics that I feel like with some people I can't really bond in ways anymore. And then with a lot of new people who I crossed paths with, I can connect so much. So, you know, like, that will always change regardless of what you go through. You know, friendships and relationships change. But I really noticed that this year, and I was a lot more conscious in who do I put my energy towards. That feels really good, even though it was hard too. So with vacations and trips, that was a huge thing because I've had to cancel maybe like 4 trips or something during my burnout because my health just wouldn't allow me to go, and it was too stressful of an experience. And so because I wasn't able to come with my parents to Norway last December, they'd gifted me a ticket for this summer. Whenever I would want to go, they were like, we just owe you a ticket. We gifted it to your brother as well, so you have a ticket at least. And I just decided, you know what? Fuck it. Let me go to Norway. And so I went on a 2-week solo road trip through Norway. Parts of it. It wasn't a huge road trip because with my energy levels, I could only drive like 2 or 3 hours before I would get too tired. So I took it very easy. Didn't go through many cities. But I started in Bergen. And I stayed with family friends for a couple days, which was amazing because I could just land and take it slow. And then I went to Vos. Het is te veel uitzichten de hele tijd. En ik kan niet overal stoppen, maar kijk hoe mooi dit is. Het is echt zo fucking prachtig overal. En ik kijk mijn ogen uit. Ik heb net even een pizza pauze gehad hier. Langs de weg. Langs de fjord. Het is echt... Zoveel watervallen ook. Overal. Elke keer kom ik ook uit de tunnel en ik heb gewoon echt gegild in de auto. Ah, mijn god, what the fuck. Ik kan niks vastleggen, want ik ben alleen en ik ben aan het rijden. Maar ik kan niet geloven dat mijn ogen dit kunnen zien allemaal. Dit is echt crazy. En video en beelden doen het echt nooit... Laat het nooit tot zijn recht komen. Maar aanrader. Kom maar mooi naar Noorwegen. And then I went to Tjenkruset, drove up a mountain, I swam in a fjord, I made lovely friends, and it was so nice to reconnect with that part of myself, the part that is spontaneous and adventurous and isn't afraid of life and new experiences and can put herself out there and manage really well on her own. I can do those things. I've been to Australia on my own before when I was 18, and I really missed that part of myself, and I really found that again in Norway. Like, I found myself when I was traveling. But just, I don't know, I was just reminded of that feeling. And it was amazing, and I loved it so much. And I stayed in a cabin on my own, which was phenomenal. And yeah, I would go again in a heartbeat. It's a beautiful country. I've always wanted to see it. I rented a car and it was amazing. The people are so incredibly kind. I felt so safe everywhere and anywhere. The hostels that I stayed at were amazing. The one in Vos was owned by a family who has a farm, and we got a tour of the farm. And it was just so nice to delve into a different culture again. I can't believe I got to do that. And then later in the year, I went to go visit my aunt in Paris, and I made a travel vlog about it, and we made an ASMR video about it, which did really well. And I'm really grateful to you guys for being so kind in that video. If you come from my ASMR channel, I don't know. I'm just always assuming that everybody is. That was just so cool to do. And overall, just I am so proud of the steps that I've taken to put myself out my comfort zone while still feeling safe and taking good care of myself wherever I was, and being so conscious of my boundaries and setting them again and again and again, which has been such a big factor before my burnout. I just didn't set my boundaries as much as I wished I did. And I don't know, I just feel like I emotionally grew and matured a lot this year. Hi, it's Editing Fleur. As I'm editing, I noticed that I never really finished my story about moving 3 times, and I didn't really tell you much about the year after the summer. But after the summer, I moved back with my parents because I was subletting, and now I'm still here, and the plan is for 2025 to figure out where do I actually want to move. But I just felt like, for the sake of cohesion, that I would put that in here. Most of you already know that, but I just for the timeline. So for the next year, I'm just really excited that I am feeling like this and that I can do things. Even if I'm a little tired, I can still do things and not be wiped out the next day. And I feel like I really have my spark back. And I made a video about that earlier this year, about me having my life back and how my recovery was going so well, and that still holds true. And I feel like I'm struggling a lot less with burnout symptoms or symptoms that are still lingering on, only that just my energy level is a little bit lower, that I need more time to recover. That's pretty much the only thing that still really gets to me. I have so much more emotional bandwidth. I have a lot less brain fog. I can comfort myself a lot better and see how things will be okay again, and I can just function. How would that be if I had a 9-to-5 job? I don't know. I feel really lucky that I happened to turn YouTube into a job now, so I'm still able to work from home a lot and take naps just whenever I want to, which means that I can really listen to my body and hone in on that. And I know that that's a big privilege that not a lot of people have, so I just want to say that, like, take it with a grain of salt, because I think that it would be really different if I had a full-time job, or if I had children to take care of, or a partner who was, expecting things of me, or whatever, someone who would require more of my attention. I don't know. I just feel like I grew a lot and learned a lot this year, and it was so intense. And because I'm really ready to move forward with 2025, I just wanted to make this video and capture it and get all my b-roll out for you to see, and just have this little heart-to-heart, I guess, before going into the new year. I didn't want to feel like I still had to make this video, or that I still wanted to do something with 2024, blah blah blah. I just want to leave it here as is, because it was a lot and it was hard, and I was so sad at times and broken and lost. I currently have the emotional bandwidth of, I don't know, something very inflexible, I guess. So I don't know. I'm just swimming. It just sometimes feels like it doesn't exist anymore. Everything's okay now. So as if I did not just go through this huge thing or something. It feels so insignificant all of a sudden. And then I feel a little bit insignificant, maybe. I very often do not know what I'm doing with my life at the moment. More and more those questions are popping up, because that's obviously a very normal life thing. I'm in my 20s. It's a time to figure everything out, but it just feels like everything is coming in like tidal waves, and I don't have enough time to catch my breath in between before the next one comes along. I don't know, I feel like I keep repeating myself, but it is what it is. I'm a little lost. I've definitely felt incredibly lost this year. Like, what is my purpose? What do I want to do? Like, all the questions that I would have had regardless, because I graduated in 2023. I never really thought about that because I had severe health issues, so I was afraid of the future. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Like, I'm fine, but the future just always scared me a lot, and now that I'm at the future point that I feared back when I was a teenager, it's not so scary. I actually feel like I can make plans and live out the dreams that I had. And if YouTube has shown me one thing, it's that taking action towards making your dreams happen, or putting yourself out there, is not as daunting as it seems before you start. And sometimes you should just start and see where it goes from there. Because I don't think that if I didn't have the burnout, I would have never had the guts to start a YouTube channel, and we wouldn't be here in this situation. I would probably be working a social work job that I didn't like, because I don't want to be a social worker. So first, I wanted to title this video like reasons why my burnout is the best thing to have ever happened to me. It's not, but in a way it has been. There's a lot of duality, and that is maybe the biggest thing that I learned throughout these past 2 years, is that I can hold a lot of duality and still function and live and enjoy life while holding so much duality, because I can feel incredibly sad or heartbroken or lost and still feel so much love and gratitude and passion for things. And I can feel so much grief over things that I didn't get to do last year because I was so ill, and feel so grateful for the steps that I got to take and how I got to take care of myself and nurse myself back to health with help of therapy and family. Of course, I owe a lot to them, but you know what I mean, hopefully. I'm a really big believer in that things happen for a reason, and that what is meant to happen is what is happening. And that can be incredibly rough and unfair and painful. And so don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to romanticize life, because things happen all the time to people who do not deserve what is happening to them. And I think recent events in my personal life have really shown that, how, you know, tomorrow isn't a given, and we do want to make the most of it. But we get to see so many big things that people are doing, like online. But it is the little things that matter. And you can still have a really fulfilling life within these little moments. And so making the most of it every day is still having a normal day, but enjoying those normal days. That got super deep, super randomly, and I did not really intend to do that, but it is just something that's been on my mind a lot. I've just been thinking a lot about how me last year, so not end of 2023, but maybe like the summer, I remember someday in July 2023, I was sobbing because all my friends were at a festival and I was napping 6 times a day, or I had a day where all I could do was just lay down in different locations in the house and the garden. I don't know. I don't know how long I can do this anymore, and I don't have a choice. So, I mean, I'm gonna continue, but it feels like I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to wake up tomorrow, and I want everything to be normal, and I'm fucking sick of it, and that's okay. So I'm just... this inner discussion of, you suck, you're never gonna get out of this, and also I'm so proud of you because you're doing it, I love you. If you want to trade brains, like for a day or something, just DM me, okay? I would love that. I was feeling miserable and burnt out. I just remember thinking to myself, oh, I just wish I had a day where I would, you know, go to a thrift store, have dinner with friends, and then maybe a drink with a friend in the city. Like, nothing too crazy, but something social and with loved ones and something fun. And I'm having days like that again, where I am not wiped out the next day. And even though I am not at 100%, whatever that looks like, and I have my struggles, and, you know, there are people who are dreaming of the life that I'm living right now. Me, a year and a half ago, was dreaming of the life that I'm living right now. I miss being able to make plans with friends and not doubting if I will be able to make it to those plans. Be someone people can count on, and I'm not someone people can count on right now. And right now that just does not feel like that's okay. Ik weet ook gewoon echt niet wat ik met mezelf aan moet. Ik weet ook gewoon niet waar ik het zoeken moet, zeg maar. En mijn bril beslaat. Ik wil gewoon gelukkig zijn. En gezond. Ik kijk er naar uit. Naar de tijd dat dingen weer makkelijk gaan en weer makkelijk voelen. So what a privilege it is to be alive. Even though your life isn't perfect, someone in the world is dreaming about the life that you are living right now. That is something that really helped me. And I just hope that maybe it might help one of you. And that doesn't mean that you can't be sad about the situation that you're in. Like, that's okay. It's okay to feel lost and sad and heartbroken and desperate. It is the art of letting that be there and then deciding to change that around or take steps, like just opening a window, taking a breath of fresh air, putting your phone down when you notice you've been scrolling for too long, like when it's happening, you're like, I'm doing it, putting it down and getting out of bed, that's already a step that you're taking that, you know, you can be proud of. I don't know, I think I'm losing the plot a little bit, and I think that I've already, you know, rounded up my story and have said what I wanted to say. I hope that if you take anything from this video, I hope that it will be a sense of pride in yourself and how you are handling the situations as best as you can. And it's okay to make mistakes along the way, and all things are temporary and things will get better. When they do get better, even just slightly, I hope that you notice them and that you can give yourself a little pat on the shoulders or just take it in a little bit extra. Savor those moments. Because a past version of you was maybe hoping for those moments, or someone else in the world is hoping to have the experience that you are having. Those are just my thoughts on this Christmas Eve. The family is about to get here and we are going to head out for some festivities. I am sending you so much love. Thank you for being here and for your support, and I'm very excited to see you in the new year. Bye.